There was of over 2,000 Druze and Christians. They were babies off roofs. They went through a hospital, all the doctors, nurses, patients, everybody. A lot of people don't know because a lot of this stuff didn't make the news. Why aren't they screaming about Sueda? Oh, wait a minute. It doesn't fit the narrative? There's a video of an old lady. All she has to do is denounce God. They hand her the medication and then they kill her.
We're here with Steve Sleptovich, brother in Christ and Serbian brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Steve is doing amazing things in this world. He's doing security all around the world, actually, doing amazing things in different countries.
Over 70 countries.
Over 70 countries
that we operate in. Right?
Yeah. And tell us a bit more about your company and what you guys do.
So I run two companies. Strategic Response Partners, a disaster management company, been at that for a little over 35 years. And my birthday was 2 days ago, but I'm not going to tell you how old I am.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. And then I also run a private security company called Saber Defense Team. Yeah. So thank you for having me on your show. It's always good here.
Yeah.
And it's always good to hang out with another fellow Serb, right? I mean, I think we're all cut from the same cloth when you come from the Balkans.
Yeah.
People always ask me, they're like, are you ex-military? You know, like when we're moving into certain sandboxes, I'm like, no. I had two really strong Serbian parents. No drill sergeant out there was stronger than my dad.
So that's awesome. So
Yeah.
you've been in this game for a long time. You've been in defense.
I have. Anything that's disaster and crisis management related. We teach a lot of organizations, especially critical infrastructure, how to prepare in wide area disasters. So we're the ones that are in there usually 2-3 days before, bringing in the fuel, the power, the environmental, structural engineers, the shrink wrap crews, the people that actually have to be able to keep that hospital operational, the municipality functioning. And so I've been doing that since 1989.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My family was developers. My father wasn't. My father was a race car mechanic, but worked on two different race teams. So
That's awesome.
I got a lot of speedy tickets.
What type of race teams?
So most were like everything from drag racing to figure eight to Indy racing. So my dad was the guy that would get those phone calls from all over the country. And they would be like, George, I got the thing on the dyno. I got it all hooked up to the scope. I'd get the timing's off or something's not firing. And my dad would be like, okay, listen here. Put the phone by the engine. Okay, rev it up. Okay, give more gas. More gas. Okay, here's your problem. And then he would give them like the breakdown. He was the doctor when it came to automotive.
That's awesome. He's the Nikola Tesla of race cars.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And it's interesting because my father was raised Orthodox Christian and then converted to being Nazarene Christian.
Oh, wow.
And when it came time for him to serve in the military, he refused oružje. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to take a gun. I'm not going to shoot another man. I'm not going to kill another man for nobody. Not king, not country, not anybody. I'm a proud Serb, but that's against my faith. I'm going to be a conscious objector.
Wow.
And he served 7 years in prison for not wanting to take a gun.
Wow.
And he was in prison with other Christians and Jehovah's Witnesses and other people that were objecting to taking a gun. My father became their best mechanic in there because he came from the farms, working on Jeeps, trucks, the farm equipment, and then eventually became like their best mechanic. Then he got out after his 7-year sentence, and they resentenced him to another 7 years. Him and his friends. And my dad's like, wait a minute, I served 7 years. Like, this is crazy. And they're like, no, you're still one of our best mechanics. And you got to show up for duty in 30 days. And my father escaped from there into Austria.
Oh, wow.
Now, what people don't know is he escaped with a couple of his buddies across that border and sought asylum in Austria and got asylum. But my father's uncles all got killed Orthodox Christmas Eve at the dinner table. They were the Chetniks fighting against the resistance at the time. And all of his uncles, they walked in there. The priest actually of the town snitched them off.
Wow.
And that part of history, many times later, as a kid growing up in America, first one born in the United States, my father telling me the stories of how he experienced communism and the pain in his eyes, how he lost his entire other side of that family And then from there, because they were in a place called Ljubinji. And then from that area, they moved, which was on near the Croatian border. And it was the Ustaša that came in there and just killed them all. My father was able to get out with his father, like with their little family that they had, to Sremska Mitrovica, and that's where they set up near Sremska Mitrovica, a little town called Šašinci, right? And my father ended up loving the German people, had me take German in high school in Hawthorne because we grew up in the inner city, which is absolutely crazy when you think about it, right? So his doctor was Croatian, and he had me take German. My father's had every mixed race you could possibly think of working in a shop. And one thing that I remember was one Croatian guy coming to my father's shop saying some stuff like, how could you have a Croatian for a doctor, blah, blah, blah. My father goes, you know what? I never, ever want you coming into my shop within hearing distance of my son. I must have been like 9 or 10 years old. My dad was so upset. And his thing is, judge a man by his character, not by the color of his skin, not by his religion, and not by what somebody did in his ancestral past. That individual had no control over that.
Yeah, that's true. That's awesome.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. Like, there's a little bit too much nationalism in that part of the world where it's like, we're all Christian, right? You have Orthodox, you have Catholic, and you have other groups. And it's like, why do we let this divide us?
Yeah.
And people go to war for that. People want to kill each other for that. It's kind of,
Yeah. People, there's fanatics.
yeah.
And you want to deal with the fanatics of every religion. Like if you see what happened in Australia at Bondi Beach,
Yeah.
the guy that stopped the other shooter was another Muslim man.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you see this kind of stuff going on, yeah, it was a Jewish holiday and there was some Jewish event going on, but I guarantee you there's people at the beach that was every kind of race, every kind of creed, right? And probably people on the beach that were part of a Free Palestine movement. So speaking of that, I want to share something with you.
Sure.
So recently, me and my team did an operation down in Syria. Actually, there's a lot of people that don't know because a lot of this stuff didn't make the news. There was a slaughter of over 2,000 Druze and Christians in a place called Sueda, which is southern Syria. The Druze and the Christians are the predominant people that live in that area, including some people that are Muslim, okay? They all coexist beautifully for many, many years. When the collapse happened in Syria, there was a vacuum. And the guy that was one of the main ISIS leaders, al-Shara, right?
Yeah.
Jolani now, depending on what day of the year it is, was on the terrorist watch list for the U.S. and now was praised by Trump and had him actually at the White House, who's responsible for killing thousands of innocent people during that time, which I'm talking about women and children, not just fighters.
He was in charge of that slaughter that happened?
Yes, he allowed the slaughter to happen,
Wow.
saying, oh, I don't really, there's a lot of foreign fighters here and whatever, but really didn't do anything about it. And some of the stuff that they had as far as tanks and drones are Turkish made. So it's interesting that when that happened, they were throwing babies off roofs. They were slaughtering people. They went through a hospital, killed all the doctors, nurses, patients, everybody. All this footage is out there. So there's my team that went out there under a specific operation. And in that operation, right when we landed in Jerusalem, we went straight from the airport to a hospital to see a little girl, 5, 6-year-old, that got shot in the face. She saw her family killed right in front of her. And she was in the hospital asking for her father because she's like, even though she witnessed him being killed right in front of her, she's like, it's lonely in here. Can someone go get my dad?
Wow.
Because there's a shock in that the person doesn't process this type of stuff. And then we went to multiple hospitals to actually get a lot of intel on how valid and how real from the actual patients, right? One of them was a mom with her husband when they heard gunfire in Sueda. She jumped in the van, little small minivan that they had, and they're trying to get out of town. And the snipers from one hillside end up shooting her husband literally right through the neck. She pulls him, he stops the car, he slumped over. She pulls him over to the other side, gets in the driver's seat, turns around, and in her car are her 9 and 10-year-old boy, her 5-year-old boy, and like her 8-year-old daughter. And they're hauling the other way now, trying to get another escape route. There's a van parked on the side there on a little hillside, and that van just starts opening fire on her van.
Wow.
She loses control. The car flips multiple times. The little 5-year-old boy gets launched out of it, gets shot through the stomach. Okay. And the 9 and 10-year-old boy, they were trying to get their father out of the car, who's dead at the time. The 8-year-old girl was shot through by her because she was shot through the leg and the arm because her mom was trying to shield her when they were firing at her at the van. And it was interesting because these guys came off that hillside who were just shooting at them, shot them up, and pulled them out of the van until the two boys start running. As the boys are running, they're firing at their feet. The boys actually were running like they learned how to run, not go zigzag.
Wow.
One of them got shot up in the collarbone, but the two boys made it. They were able to escape from that area. Then they took the 5-year-old boy, the 8-year-old girl, they're both shot, one through the little boy through the stomach, little girl and the mom. They put them in a van and they're filming them going, look what Israel did. Look what Israel did. We're taking them to the hospital. And they drove them to a nearby hospital and dropped them off at that hospital. So it's amazing the propaganda that goes on. So from Israel, we had all these multiple meetings and we met some of the Druze fighters to hear what their story was. One guy was like, man, I'm not a fighter. I'm going to the store to pick up groceries. And they literally drop a bomb like from the drone that blew his legs up, destroyed this poor guy. Another one was shot in the mouth at the hospital, had a big hole that was, they had to stitch him up, but his whole part of his face shot through him and he survived, which was crazy. And then what we did is we met with the Druze leadership near the border and then met with multiple congressmen where we debriefed them, met with Huckabee on multiple occasions, and then got permission to go into Hadar, which is an outpost in Syria where the Israelis actually set up as a safe area where it's like what they call like a zone that's a free zone, like a war-free zone, where many of the Druze that were getting hit and Christians were coming there for services. And the top pediatricians, cardiologists, surgeons, you name it, they had a state-of-the-art medical facility, field hospital set up. And that's where they were setting up the humanitarian aid corridor so that they could push food and water and everything else into those areas. Because when they came into that area, they blew up the water, their whole water system, poisoned multiple wells so these guys can't get clean water, burned through 36 villages, 5 churches to the ground. And so when I go like this to myself and I see people say, hey, free Palestine, I go, yeah, free Palestine from Hamas, right? But why is the free Palestine all about anti-genocide? Why aren't they screaming about Sueda? Oh, wait a minute. It doesn't fit the narrative? It's not an anti-Israel, it's an anti-Muslim thing? Well, that's interesting. But yet Israel was instrumental in protecting that zone from the ISIS fighters coming in there, okay? Because they don't coexist. And it was interesting because, you know, one of the saddest things was there's a video of an old lady who they're offering life-saving medications. So all she has to do is denounce God. She's got to denounce God, and she could get the life-saving medication. Repeat after me. So she denounces God, Jesus Christ, her Lord and Savior, swears allegiance to Allah. They hand her the medication, and then they kill her.
Wow. That's wild.
And then there's a group of little kids in a Sunday school, little church school, that when the Islamic terrorists came in there, the extremists came in there, they asked the little kids, another group. And it talks about these little kids who give a testimony of what happened. And the little kids were in that school. The teachers were all killed. And these kids are sitting there, and these Islamic guys are telling them that you have to swear allegiance to Allah. And you know what the kids did? In unison started singing Christian songs.
Wow.
And for me, I was reading through on some.
And they let him go. They're just like, you know what? Whatever. But they captured over 200 women that are still in captivity, and they put a video out. Don't come looking for your women.
To get us something we actually need.
Don't come looking for your women. We'll bring them back in 9 months with our babies. Okay, these are apex predators. They're not men. When you hunt women and children and you terrorize elderly people and people that are unarmed, but what I'm saying is, this is the scum of the earth. And the only way you deal with that is you hit them twice as hard. because that's how they scatter.
But is anyone hitting them? Is the question.
No. And so our mission has always been under the Sabre defense team, which is Bravo Research Group, me and Byron Rogers running this mission, is to be that security force that comes in, that lays down a line, but teaches the men of that area how to build their own arsenal. They can do it with 3D printers, but train them with our team of special forces of how to move and how to protect their villages, because we're called to be protectors of our wives, our kids, and the elderly, of our communities. But there's so many churches that I find that are like, oh, we're going to donate to this mission. We're going to, oh, wait a minute, Nigeria? Sueda, Syria? Yeah, I don't know about that, right? But I'm going, wait a minute. So why don't you go rebuild the 5 churches that they burned down?
Yeah.
What kind of hope would you give to that community? That place has no place to worship, right?
And you're going back 3D printed gun. Oh, 3D printed what? Guns?
Gun, you could 3D print guns.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Really? For defense?
Oh yeah. You can 3D print knives, guns, everything.
That's
oh
crazy.
yeah.
Oh wow.
And you could create ambushes. So the person wants to attack. If they don't know what's coming at them, and you're well prepared,
Yeah.
even with a couple of thermal drones, you can create a surveillance and a tactics that are taught by our special forces of how to go in there and protect your own.
Yeah.
It's similar missions that we've done in the past. Is in Haiti, you train up the team that's ahead of it. They don't realize that there's a team behind it. When they realize that there's a team of special forces behind them that's protecting that front line, they're not going to hit that front line. That's not an easy target anymore.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think of, we was it Obama? Who was it that helped destabilize Syria in the first place? Like, how did that even happen? Like we kind of destabilized that country. I think Obama was behind it. Was it not? They were like funding the terrorists kind of deal.
I mean, that's a rabbit hole with, it's interesting. It's like in Nigeria right now, a lot of what's happening that I see is what we used to call blood diamonds when they were going after diamonds, right? It's blood minerals. So rare earth minerals that the Chinese are extracting, but you're not going in there with the team because that whole team is covered and funded by a team that's killing and destroying those areas so that they can move their stuff through those routes.
Yeah.
And the Christians just happen to be in the way in many of those areas.
So you guys training defense will help strengthen those areas where they could be protected to some degree, but do they need outside help as well?
They absolutely need outside help.
Yeah.
Because the initial part of it is like this. If you don't have the training and you're not given the abilities to actually level up to that type of stuff, how we're trained in the United States as being the most elite fighters in the world, other people don't have that. And if you go into an area that people don't have guns, they're sitting ducks. These guys, these bad guys, they have a massive arsenal.
Oh yes.
AK-47. Listen, that's where Zastava Arms needs to come in and donate some firearms to the Nigerians, to the Christians, right? They should take it up for the Christian cause.
Yeah.
And allow these people for protection. I mean, that's why I'm a big advocate for the Second Amendment and protecting our given rights.
Of course.
Because the fastest way to stop a bad guy with a gun is another gun.
Of course.
I always say get trained.
Yeah, I mean,
this
is one of the last places where Christians are not sitting ducks.
Yep.
There's very few countries around the world that Christians are not sitting with no defense.
And the thing about it is people should get trained. People that are uncomfortable with it, it's like they shouldn't be uncomfortable with it. It's actually the equalizer between you and the bad person, right?
Yeah.
My wife's trained, my daughter's trained, my son's trained. Everyone knows how to put together, disassemble, and how to fire really good on target, right? I don't ever want them to be in a position where they have to use that firearm. I'd rather be me in that position protecting my family.
Sure.
But if you're a person who's like, I don't really like guns, I don't want to get guns. Well, if that stuff starts happening, what's happening in America, what's happening in the world, sooner than later, well, you're going to want to hide behind somebody with a gun.
That's for sure.
So don't be that person hiding behind a woman with a gun. It's kind of embarrassing. Stramota.
That's awesome. So what are you guys doing in Nigeria right now? You guys are planning on
So
yeah.
in Nigeria, there's an op that we have a team that's on the ground that's moving through the areas, that's working with the pastors. There's also some individuals that we're working with that actually have intel on the ground as this stuff's happening. Some independent journalists, once in specific, who's been on these scenes literally after these massacres are happening. So the intel is there.
Yeah.
But they're showing up literally with the bodies still there, and fresh blood still on the ground. So this is happening more frequently than people realize. And nothing, as I see it, is being done. But it's critical to get into these zones sooner than later. So again, on the Nigeria op, for anybody that wants to get behind it, they can reach out to us. When we do things, we do with receipts, right? We're like, here's what the cost is, here's what it goes. And sometimes we'll have a big donor that will step in and say, you know what, I want to get behind that mission.
Yeah.
It's critical because I have family in that town, or I have whatever the need may be.
Nice.
I mean, literally, just recently, I got back from Jamaica. We were there 2 days before the hurricane, and then brought in of course, the Starlink satellites, right? All the minis, the Gen 3s, and we work with Samaritan's Purse. So on multiple ops, like what we did with them in Hurricane Helene, was a helicopter service that we provided a bunch of independent helicopters and my team of paramedics, where we ran their org chart right out of their location in Boone, North Carolina. In Jamaica, they were looking to where they were going to set up a field hospital. So our stuff was really just to go down there and scout the location. And then from that, once that was identified, we simply went over to Black River Hospital. That roof blew off, and there was a lot of injuries there. So it was interesting because I also went down and met with the fire brigade in Black River, where they had called for a 13-foot surge, and they left the engines and the firefighters literally on the beach in their fire station. And it flooded up to like 6-7 feet, flooded the fire engines, flooded a bunch of the fire truck vehicles.
Wow.
And listen, when it's the floods that high, they were dead in the water. There was nowhere to go. So just even their emergency management was horrible. We went in, we set up their first EOC in Montego Bay, set up the satellite communication, organized everybody. Everybody came in for the EOC meeting, all from the power to the communications for their cellular communication, to their health department, to their defense force systems, and all the different ministers. And we set up the whole EOC, and then I briefed them on what to expect in the coming days. You know, so this is something that I've done, set up the same thing at the fire department and their police department so they could actually have communications.
Yeah.
But this was all on my back.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like there's a FEMA coming in.
Oh, wow.
It was SRP coming in to get them set up.
Yeah.
But this is the world that I live in. And for me, bringing that knowledge of what we do in the United States to a country that's really a third world country. And people may get upset. Jamaica operates like they like to operate, put themselves out like they're first world, and they're really a third world operation. Because based on results don't lie. A lot of things that they could have prevented from happening, their emergency management failed on an epic level, and the world sees it. You can do a lot of social media, you can do a lot of FaceTime, you can do a lot of the PR campaign, but the reality is that results don't lie.
So are they better prepared now for the next one, or it's...
Well, they're always going to get better prepared.
Sure.
They're, you know, like it's unfortunate, right? It's the guy that gets shot that realizes, oh my God, I don't ever want to feel that pain again. I survived and lived, and he gets extremely well trained. I know some of those individuals that were like anti-gun, and then
you
their
get
lives
situation, and then you got
and then they're like, now they're like, their world's completely different. It's unfortunate. It's the woman that gets attacked, right? Who was walked like a prey, right? She was not situationally aware, got attacked, and now is a badass and a trainer and one of the best fighters you can ever come across.
Yeah.
But she had experienced that. Not she had to. She experienced that for whatever reason. I always say, be preventative. Forecast of what may happen and train. Be prepared so you're not a victim, so you're not dealing with that type of scenario.
So you guys are raising money right now for Nigeria. You guys
We
doing a
are.
project. What is that project going to look like? What are you guys going to do? Are you guys going to train the Christians there, or the victims there?
Yeah. So you're exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Our job is to go to the razor's edge, not where there's no threat,
Right.
but where the threat is, because you want to stop it at the front line, and go in there and train those villagers, find the able-bodied men, right? And again, it all comes down to spiritually. Where are you at spiritually? Because God always leads every one of our missions. I can't tell you how many times that we zagged instead of zigged, and that saved our lives because we were all tuned in spiritually. We always ground before every storm. We always pray before every major event.
Yeah.
And we stay really tuned spiritually because that is your compass. The Holy Spirit will guide you in those type of things. So going in there, seeing where they're at in their faith, show them also that the Christians aren't meant to be meek and just lay down and get slaughtered. That's not what God has taught us.
Right.
I mean, if you look at the Bible, how many times He's destroyed nations and led them
Yeah.
to pick up an whatever. It could have been a sling like David and Goliath,
Yeah.
right? He killed the man,
Yeah.
right?
Shield and sword. Nehemiah's wall, when they were building it, they were shield to shield, sword to sword, building the wall.
Yeah. So again, in that same part of it, go in there, teach them, train them. The confidence level comes through the roof. We're there, brothers to brothers, right? When they get we go through the drills and they're getting that force on force and they're learning how to move through staggered formations, work through night ops, how to listen, how to give hand signals, how to move through that whole environment. They're even better prepared than the guys that are coming at them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then at that point, now there's security force to be dealt with. Because the reality is we cannot stay there.
Right.
That's not our place. That's not our home. But we can go there and fortify their home, get them up to that level, and then get off the axe. Now they have that whole shield,
That's awesome.
and they continue to build upon that, and raise the young boys to be the warriors and protect their villages and their homes,
That's
and their
awesome.
wives and their children.
So how big is this operation? How many villages? How many people? How much money is involved? You guys need to raise money to do all this.
So yeah, I mean, the cost is not a lot of money. The first run, which is like 10 to 14 days,
Yeah.
in that range, is about $40,000.
Okay.
Because there's ground ops that you have to pay for
Sure.
and stuff like that. But the 10 to 14 day window, typically that 2-week period,
Yeah.
can give us enough time because we're training from morning to night.
Yeah.
Right. And it's uncomfortable because you're going in an area you don't get to have the normal food that we normally have in the United States. My guys are used to it, right? And so you're taking ivermectin afterwards, make sure you're getting dewormed and you're not ending up with stuff that you don't want to end up with, right?
40,000 is cheap. I mean,
it's
that's,
not a
that's
lot.
ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you even pay your guys with that much? I mean, that's
Listen, the guys most of them are volunteering their time,
wow.
and it's about the cause.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because honestly, the greatest form of love is simply service, just showing up in service.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And so for me, people go, you're losing money. I'm like, it's not about losing money. The amount of abundance of love and gratitude that we get from being there, it's not about cameras. It's not, we do so many ops that have nothing to do with people go, you actually make a documentary. It takes away from the blessings of it because some parts of people want to see what you're doing, which is good. I'm all for that. But you have to be very careful on how you do that. Because then are you really giving? Or is it about ego? And that's part of the problem sometimes where people make it about ego. And my mom, come from a Serbian family, always taught us as little kids, if you're going to tithe, if you're going to give in private.
Yeah.
No one needs to know. Otherwise, it becomes a curse, not a blessing. It becomes about you, not about the service.
Yeah. Because it's almost like a ministry. It is a form of ministry.
Yeah.
And they feel the love coming from you guys and bringing them scripture and teaching them.
Yeah, a lot of churches raise a lot of money, but they really don't see where it goes. So I always say like this, Pastor, you're about the word? You're about churches in action? Well, why don't you join us? Just you foot the bill, pay for some airline tickets,
Yeah.
a little bit of food. We'll do all the work. Come join us.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the look in their eyes on many of them, not saying all of them, is a look of like fear. And I go, so do you trust God? What is it about when you profess from the pulpit to have faith, to step into the unknown and know that God has everything already planned? Where's your faith?
Yeah.
Because that's really the question. A lot of these missions are about, where's my faith? How am I showing up?
Where's your faith and where's your service?
Yeah.
Going back to these churches, and it's like you collect money, but are you serving? Are you serving people? Are you helping people? I think that's a big overlooked part of being a Christian is
Yeah.
serving others.
Or you just there to serve the local community, take your donations, and keep just the perpetual vanilla stuff going, like just lukewarm.
Lukewarm.
What does
exactly.
God say about being lukewarm?
She'll spit you out. Yeah, that's amazing what you guys are doing. You guys are living the word, putting your life on the line, putting your money, and your time, and your lives, your safety.
Yeah.
But you guys are serving a lot of people, and it's incredible.
Yeah, we have incredible team members. You know, I look at them and I always thank God because in this entire journey, He's blessed me with being their keeper. And He's my keeper and He's our keeper. But getting into these zones, knowing that every time that we've gone out, God has protected us. We've completed every mission successfully. We've come home, bumps and bruises and stuff like that, but we've never lost anybody. So in that vein and in that channel, I am beyond thankful and grateful that I get blessed to be uncomfortable. I get blessed to be in these extreme conditions, be it hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, uh, massacres, you know, the slaughters of Christians and innocent babies and people. I mean, working the border. Like we're here at the Turning Point USA conference. You know, I was blessed to actually do the 6-part docu-series called Border Battles with Charlie Kirk. We did some security stuff together with Charlie Kirk, and he was a good friend. I actually had I had him speak. I got him an opportunity to speak at Win the Storm, which was in Dallas a few weeks before he passed, where I got the opportunity to actually introduce him on stage. You know, so I always like to line myself where people are actually about doing the work, being doers. And I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful that you had the courage to start when you started your podcast and doing your business here. I'm like, first and foremost, he's a God-fearing man. He's a Christian man. He's Serbian. He's stubborn. He will find a path and he will be there.
Yeah.
So again, always an honor
Yeah.
to see you,
Thank
to
you.
be with you. And
Likewise,
thank you.
likewise. And
Thank
how
you
can
for having me.
people find you? How can people support what you're doing? I hope you'll put some more information out there so people could see, to some degree. But how could they support you?
Yeah. So the operation for Nigeria is called Operation Emberlight. You could reach out to me under Saber Team, SABRETEAM, Steve at saberteam.com on the security stuff. If it's disaster related, it's SRP24.com.
Yeah.
Steve at SRP24.com. You can see some of the disaster work on YouTube if you just go to YouTube and type in Strategic Response Partners. And then, of course, we run the Autism Health Conference, which me and my wife founded 18 plus years ago when my son was vaccine injured, which is an integrative functional medicine, longevity, all about healing, which has brought me as part of MAHA and working side by side with Bobby Kennedy on a lot of different stuff, even to this day right now. But all I can say is take care of your families, hold them close, always tune into what spirit is leading you as far as your Holy Spirit's leading you with inside you. And in these last times, like we had talked earlier before we jumped on the camera, we're at a time of discernment, right? So a lot of noise, a lot of confusion. Spend more time in the Word and less on social media. It'll do your mental health a lot of good.
Yeah. And if we could take a lesson from you, serve others, learn to serve others, build God's kingdom. This is what we're here to do.
Absolutely. We're but a vapor.
Yeah.
We're gone tomorrow.
Yeah. Many people call themselves Christian, but just focus on their lives and nothing more. And it's like God called us to love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's part of if we're not doing that, we're not really advancing the kingdom of God. So I hope people are inspired by what you're doing, risking your life, taking your time and to help others. And I hope others are inspired to do the same and figure out ways to help others as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're an inspiration.
Yeah.
And a brother.
Appreciate you. Same here.
God bless you, bro.
God bless you. Thank you.